I get shit done, I have fun. It's my time and I'm the one. I'm breaking through.
Hello and welcome to another session of the Business Renovator. The headline today is being born into an entrepreneurial family made my next guest the man he is today. He's an interesting dude, really passionate about what he does, and you won't be disappointed for hanging out with us for about 30 minutes. But before I bring him on, here's a note from my sponsor. If you're a business owner or a wannabe business owner and have a question for a business coach and you'd like to connect with somebody from Focal Point, well, guess what? It's your lucky day. That's who I'm associated with, as well as 200 other coaches around the globe. So if the question is something that I can't answer, one of my peers will be able to address it. There's a real wide and deep base of experience. If you're watching this on the replay, please let us know, #replay, where you're from, where you're watching it from. If you have a question to be addressed by us on the Business Renovator, let us know. We'll be happy to do that. And if you're able to share this out with your community, that would be greatly appreciated. One other ask is if you know somebody that has a message that you think is worthy of getting out there, because often people have a message. Many of them need a little nudge to get it out to the world. So here's a platform for you to invite them to have a conversation with me, and let's get them on, share the message, and make a difference. And if it's only one life, it could be an amazing thing for that one person. So before I go on too long with the rant, my guest is lives in the same city as I do. Normally my guests aren't that close, but this one is Jason. He's as a matter of fact, many of his friends are friends of mine that go to his restaurant. I guess quality attracts quality. He is actually the proud owner of the Matador Pizza and Steakhouse in Varsity, which is in Calgary, Alberta, Canada. He's a restaurateur, investor, and property manager. One of his passions is he loves to compete in competitions around pizza. And apparently he's done quite well in that arena. That's probably why his business is hugely successful. And his passion for it is evident if you've ever had the opportunity, or if you ever get the opportunity to pop in there and experience Jason. It's a must. He's married. I don't know if he knows this. He told me what year, but I'm going to tell you how many years. It's 23 years with 2 lovely daughters who have taken over his office. Apparently it is a crafts office, not a business office anymore. And I'm going to bring him up now, and he can add to that if he likes. Hello and welcome,
Hi, Phil. Thanks for having me today.
I appreciate you being here, man. I know you're busy.
I was super excited to be on your show, and I thought yesterday was Wednesday, and I was sitting here getting ready for your show, and the link wouldn't open, and I was a day ahead. So now that we're finally here, I'm excited to be on. Thanks for having me.
Oh, I'm honored that you're here. Thanks for being here. So one of the things that you shared with me when I was enjoying a meal or two at your place was that you did grow up in the business as an entrepreneur, and your family are entrepreneur based, and you started off cleaning out the grease trap.
Yeah, well,
that's a pretty nasty job.
Yeah, let me explain about the glamour of being an entrepreneur and how my family entrepreneurial spirit influenced mine. My dad came to Canada in the 60s, got out of the army, left Greece, and got off the boat in New York with $60 in his pocket, made his way to Calgary, Alberta, made his life here, married here, had kids here, and he started off his business as a painter. All of his friends were entrepreneurs as well from Greece. They all had pizzerias. So Calgary has a really strong pizza base with the Greek community. A lot of our pizza is influenced by Greek style pizza, and I'll go into that later on with you about pizza. But so my father had a bunch of friends who owned pizzerias. He got into the pizza business as well in the early 70s. And I grew up in the back of a restaurant, as a young kid, sleeping in the back liquor room at all out. My parents were working all hours. My dad in the back, my mom in the front, and I kind of learned the craft of pizzerias through osmosis, I guess. My first job I can remember was cutting green peppers in the back by hand as a young kid, cleaning out the infamous grease traps, reaching into these big drums full of grease and screwing the top off of the steel boxes and scooping out grease and throwing it away. Pretty glamorous life. Hard knocks, I guess. Yeah, that was how I kind of got started in the restaurant business, I guess, learning from them.
From the grease roots instead of the grassroots.
Right on. Exactly. That smell when you open the top of it. Oh, it's pungent. It's almost like raw sewage.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And look, we have somebody else who's done the same thing. That's a friend of mine out of Georgia.
Yeah.
And I'm going to bring up somebody else here. That's I know you're friends with Eric on LinkedIn, by the way.
Yeah.
Eric's he's the guy that keeps the pizzas crisp when you're sending them out, because he has a product that goes on top of the box bottom and under the pizza.
I met Eric a few times in Vegas at the pizza show, and what a super guy, great product he has there as well.
Yeah, so I met Eric because of the pandemic, and he put together a mastermind group, and he called it Megamind. So that's how I met Kellen. Yep. And his mandate was for us to get comfortable using video, so all of us have rose to his challenge to make that happen. So
that's great. That's super.
It's his fault you're here.
Like I said, great guy. He's always approachable at the pizza shows and always willing to chit chat and give samples. And he's a really a big part of the pizza culture in North America.
The passion you have for your store.
Mm-hmm.
He has that passion on steroids for himself and
definitely
his industry.
He does. Definitely.
Who would have thought somebody would be that excited about paper?
Yep.
But it's to make your pizzas better. That's what he's passionate about, right?
Absolutely. He's got a great product. Yeah. And the
Look at that.
Side, you can lift up. There he is.
You're getting a free case.
I love it.
There's perks for getting on my show.
Exactly.
There. Awesome.
Yeah, that's funny. Well, that's super. Well, I'm glad to hear that there's always benefits, right? There's always connections and how we connect those dots, right? I love dot connecting. It's one of my favorite things. How Eric and you met during the pandemic, and I've known Eric, indirectly for years through the pizza show in Las Vegas.
Yeah, he was just there this year too.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I didn't go. This is the first year I didn't go, just because the travel restrictions was a pain in the back end.
And it took us, is what I was told when I was in the printing business. My business partner called it took us, which means the back end, right?
Yeah,
for those Americans that don't speak Canadian. So you grew up in Calgary. Pretty much that's what I did too. I'm an immigrant. My folks came over to for a better life, and we came from England, and I've been here I don't count it in years anymore, Jason. It's decades. So I've been here a whole bunch of decades.
Yeah.
And I grew up all over in different quadrants of our city, but I think it's one of the best cities that I've lived in. I've lived in a couple, but I like Calgary the best. I seem to always come here. It always feels like home.
I have to agree with you. I was fortunate. I lived in Greece on a little island called Thasso in northern Greece for a number of years prior to having kids. After that, we spent a lot of time in Arizona. We spent about 10 years there, and it's kind of fun to get in my business. Pizza is universal everywhere you go in the world, and it's just different how we make it, right? It's just little influences that every country has.
Right.
And I was lucky to see different influences throughout the world through competitions and through just living abroad and coming back to Canada. But like you said about Calgary is one of the few places in the world where a young guy can get a job and make, you know, 100 grand a year driving a water truck when the economy's great. But you know, our boom and bust oil business is great when the economy is great, and sure is depressed when the economy is down, right? So,
It's
but
like
it's a
riding
fun time.
a roller coaster.
It sure is. Yeah.
Yeah, I've been there, done that.
Yeah,
Are
how
you
many
young,
results?
old enough to know or experience the 21% mortgage rates back in the
Yeah,
80s?
absolutely. We were just talking about that with my dad a couple of days ago. We were chit chatting. You know, we're going to head that way again eventually. 'Cause we're talking about inflation in the '70s and how it, you know, carried over. Interest rates went to the roof to curb inflation. And I don't know if we're going to get to those, you know, 22% again, but I, you know, a couple percentage points, and there's going to be a lot of hurt in this continent, not just country, you know, or
Yeah,
city, right? Yeah,
totally.
yeah.
Guess what I was doing when the interest rates were 21%?
Oh man, I bet you were probably selling houses or something like
I
that.
was. How
Were
did
you
you
really?
know?
That's funny because in the '80s, late '80s, I was selling houses as well.
Oh, yeah?
I got out of high school, went to Mount Royal University, went into real estate. Well, poli sci, then went into real estate. Got out, started selling houses. You know, you remember the busts and the booms.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
There was a few in there. I got out in the late '90s or mid '90s, I guess, and the market was stagnant. I had 10 listings on the board and nothing was selling. Before that, it was just sell, 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 sell. And I thought, oh boy, what's going on here? Market was just crumbling around us, and yeah, it was a crazy time.
Crazy. Yeah, it was crazy time.
Mhm.
21% mortgage rates for. Anyway, I worked for a little company. It was actually the largest in Canada, fourth in North America, and they're no longer around.
Oh,
Just and it's unfortunate because if you look for a company with a culture that really draws people to them, that was
mhm.
it. It
Oh,
was one
wow.
of the best companies I ever worked for in terms of the corporations that I've worked with.
Mhm.
There's been very well, actually, there's been none like that. They were so people centric that really put me on the journey and was a catapult for me to be in the coaching business down
For
the road.
sure. For
And the
sure.
people I met along the way. It's just been amazing. But enough
Absolutely.
about me. The show is about my guests.
Well, I love your story too. Your story is
I love
outstanding,
you.
and you never get a chance to talk about your story. So maybe we can incorporate both stories
Well,
together in this
we'll
episode.
see where it
That
goes
way,
in
people
that.
get to know you and me, and our stories are, you know, how we made our way, right? So
Yeah, I'm going to bring up
relevant.
something here because
Sure.
you're Jason. Jeez, Eric's
I'm still
asking
Jason.
you. I'm reading
Yeah.
this stuff, right? Um, where's that question? This is one that's relevant to all entrepreneurs. He's asking you, how are you doing with staff?
Well, you know, we're having the same issues everyone's having. Uh, I'm really blessed. My back of house all during the pandemic bought in, and they said, you know what, our circle's small. We're not going to go out every night. We're gonna work, and the guy beside me is the guy I'm looking out for, and I'm not going to get sick and put myself at risk. And they all did the same. And unfortunately, we had to let go front house staff during the pandemic, and those guys really gelled together and bought in, and 2 years of just camaraderie. Funhouse, everyone who got laid off did come back for the most part. We have, you know, as we're coming out of the pandemic ish, we're having the same struggles everyone else is, trying to find quality pieces to put into our new growth, I guess. And we're struggling like everyone else is. You know, if you had 10 applications for a full-time waitress, we do 10 interviews, hire two, maybe one will show up. It's it's the new reality. You know, there
Yeah,
until
that's tough.
benefits
Eh?
stop, no one's going to work. It's
I, I
challenging.
I put one up, a comment up here, that one there, and it distracted you. Let me tell you about her. She has a company that's called Cards That Wow. So
Nice.
apparently, you're going to get some cards. I get my
Love
cards.
that. I
So
love thank you cards. They're one of my favorite things. I just recently got into doing those uh, over the last year or so. Just a quick thank you to everybody who's helped or or for their business or whatever. I think it's a great handwritten note, put in the mailbox, send it off. I'll be
These
honest.
are
Yeah.
these are quite different. These are three-dimensional. Like if I can get the light to,
Oh yeah.
they're all handmade. So they're not for the
Wow.
frugal, which I don't think
Wow.
you are. I think you'll enjoy them when you get them, and
Absolutely.
she's
That's
amazing.
really
Her
cool.
story is amazing as well, but it's about us, not her.
I'd like to hear that one too one of these days here. That'd be a great episode, I think.
I've had
Handmade
her on
cards.
once, but her life has changed. So she's moved from California to Georgia. It's
Hmm.
probably about time that because she's also introduced some new products. And the pandemic has hit us all in different ways. And what I like about these people that have showed up here, including yourself, is one of my mentors back in the day when I was working for New West Homes
Hmm.
was Val Vanderwall, and he was mentoring Ralph Scurfield, who was the CEO of New West, and I ended up taking some of Val's courses.
Hmm.
And one of the things, well, there's a bunch of things that stuck up. Matter of fact, you notice how I spell wonderful?
Oh yeah, you.
And I'll do a little plug at the end, but this
Sure.
is where I got that from, was from him. The U is that
Hmm.
each and every one of us is wonderful in our own way. And that's what that reminds me of. So my cards all have that, and I handwrite them and send them out to people.
Beautiful.
But he also said, when we go through things like this, there's two things that happen. I'm gonna say this question and ask you to answer it or
Hmm.
define it. So these kind of things jar your preserves. What does it make you think of?
When you say things that
Jar your
jar
preserves.
my preserves,
Yeah.
that's a really unique question. I've never had that before. What jars my preserves? So what gets me going from things that
Ah,
I keep
that's
inside? Is that what you're asking? I guess I'd have to define. The
yeah.
preserves would be in my the way I look at it is things that you're holding for the future, and like jars of preserves. I'm
But that's the
canned
two aspects.
tomatoes or things like that, right?
What you started off with, though, is the other path. There's two paths.
Okay,
Jarred as in, canned fruits and
sure.
things, or it's jarred your preserves and you started to go that path, whereas it wakes you up and you go, holy shit, this is a shit show. What can we
Yeah,
do to make it better? So
sure.
those are the two options. Either hunker
Oh,
down and hope that we're going to survive it, which
yeah,
is what many people have done through this experience we've all gone through.
yeah.
But people like you and Eric and Kellen and other people I've gotten to know through this awful experience, there were some great things that came out of it. And
Absolutely, there
that's
was.
the other side. It jars your preserves to say, okay, even though we're going through this crap, what can
Hmm.
we do to not
Make
just
it better.
survive, but thrive? So
That's
that's
right.
what all like Callan and Eric have done. And Eric helped put a group together that made that possible for me and others.
Sure. So I guess for us, it would be doubling down on takeout and delivery,
Yeah.
and again keeping that team really tight and close, and everyone buying in and being first and foremost buddies and looking out for each other, and then secondly, we got a goal. We're going to survive. We're going to get out of this pandemic unscathed, and we're going to do is just work, and because there's nothing else to do. So either we sit at home, play video games, or we get out there and do something good and keep ensuring that our legacy is going to be there. We've been there for 45 years in the same location. Off the top of your head, name one restaurant that's been in the same location in Calgary for over 45 years.
Yeah, that's hard.
It's hard, right?
Yeah, I just
Now,
did a quick
your viewers
scan.
outside in their cities or towns or villages, name one that's been there for 45 years in the same location. It's tough to do.
Well, you know what I was talking about, that culture of that company that I used to work with?
Yeah,
Your company is not the size of that one because they had, I don't know, a couple of
yeah.
hundred employees. But there's one thing that there is common that I haven't experienced it firsthand,
Mhm.
but secondhand is that your tenure, your staff, your chef, your key people
Oh,
have been with you 20 plus years, right?
yeah. Well,
That speaks.
yeah, I'm very blessed. My head chef has been at Matador for over 35 years. My executive chef, who does the daily ops, he's been there for over 20 years. My newest chef, 4 years. So we have a really good group of guys who believe in what we do and take passion in what we do. And from Rudy, our head chef, he He ensures our recipes are the same day in, day out, and they never change. Our executive chef, Chef Hassan, he ensures that the team is focused and working and uh, ready at task. They're just outstanding individuals. Without them, we're big enough that we have 51 employees, and we're not at the stage anymore where I can just go and do it anymore. It's a true business. It's not a hobby, right? So
right.
yeah.
So you don't do that anymore?
I do only when they ask me to, and they don't
Right.
ask me very often anymore.
But you do know
Although I
you do.
love it still. When I get asked, I'm pushing guys out of the way on the line to get into the people line, right? So I'm like, yeah.
Look you're so focused in that picture there.
Thank you. That was in Toronto. I was competing at the Canadian Pizza Show there, I think.
Okay.
Now, I don't know what I'm making there. I think looks like a pan-style pizza,
Yeah, it
and
does. Yeah.
there's probably rules that I had to use certain ingredients, and yeah, I think that was a couple of years ago, before pre-pandemic.
Right.
I think I had 2 more hairs then.
2 more hairs. And I lost two more now.
Oh, I lost a few. Yeah.
Yeah, me too. And this is something I haven't eaten this particular one, but I've eaten pizzas at your store, and I've come back.
Thank you. That's what we hope.
And actually, I've had this too. And actually, I often, while I'm there, I buy that to bring it home, and I eat it during the week. That makes it into a lunch for me. So
that's super.
It's not quite as good as eating it right away, but it's pretty darn close.
I always say our oven baked lasagna was one of our 4 core products, obviously. But and as far as temperature goes, lasagna is number 1, lava is number 2. So be careful, right? So it's as far as heat goes, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So,
No, I've enjoyed it. It's really, 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 really good.
we bake them in a steel pan. For us, I think it makes a difference. A lot of restaurants, old school Italian places, use ceramic. We feel that steel is the best. We get that nice cheese crust around the edge,
Yeah,
the collar, I guess you call it. And when you dig into it, and that steam comes puffing out, and the smell of the meat sauce, the richness of the tomato and the beef, because we grind our own chuck, so that when that smell hits you, and the ooey gooey cheese rising up, and that's a wonderful sensation. And then scraping all that cheese color off the edge of the pan. Oh,
okay, I gotta go. Are you open yet? I'm coming over.
Come on over. I'll make you one right now. Don't
worry. Besides pizzas and entrepreneurialism and investment, being an investor, you're raising a family too, right?
Yeah, I'm pretty lucky. My wife's been with me for a long time.
Yeah.
We have 2 beautiful daughters who are now 15 and 13, and you can see behind me, I'm in their craft room / my pretend office, and all that art in the back is their, school day art kind of thing that they've brought home to me. So it's found a place on my wall.
Nice.
Yeah, and their craft room, I guess. Now
they let you in and borrow it for an office now.
They let me use it once in a while.
That's so nice of you.
Especially during school days, I can use it. So I'm lucky. I always said, I think we talked about this before, Phil. I said, as a young guy, I always wanted to be surrounded by beautiful blonde women all my life. God granted me that wish. I forgot to say I didn't want to be related to all of them. But I'm very lucky.
And that's really a good segue into life. I mean, decide what it is you want, and then go after it with a passion. And
right.
As you go along the way, maybe, because I had a situation when I started a business a bunch of years ago, and I was trying out something that I'd learned. And basically is, if you know what you want and why you want it and stifle the how, doesn't mean you're going to get 100% of everything you go after. But it's been one of the best things that I've ever experienced in terms of making shit happen in my life and other people's lives. And I was my test was getting a computer for free. I won't go to the backstory why that's where I was at, but I went out asking people. And one of the things I was trying to do is prove that philosophy worked, knowing what I wanted and why I wanted. So I wanted a laptop with a certain configuration and certain attributes and Oh yeah, for free. So some people laughed at me and said, "Are you crazy?" And other people said, "When do you need it?" So you can
Yeah.
have mine when I don't need it. So that showed up, and turns out that I needed to clarify the ask because that got in the way. They needed it at the same time I did. So when I changed the ask and continued on that journey, looking for the end result I was looking for, I ran into another one, and I could have it forever because I changed the ask.
Hmm.
And but I forgot to say Windows, so I got a DOS-based one. So I opened it up, it wouldn't work with what I needed it for. So it got me to refine what it was I was looking for. It became more clear what the end result was. Eventually, I ended up getting not only one, I ended up getting four using the same process for different reasons. And actually, over the span of the time that I started doing that in 1990, I got the seventh one during the pandemic from a friend partner of mine. When I asked him, I said, "Hey, I'm sick and tired of sitting in my office. Like at your optometry practice, do you happen to have a laptop or that you've retired that you want to send out my way so I can do it for my Udemy
Hmm.
training courses while I'm watching a hockey game or something?" So next thing I know, I get a brand spanking new one that was way better than anything I asked.
How
So
wonderful is that?
it was a beautiful gift, and I tried to send it back, and he said, "You know what? It's my money. I'll spend it any blankety blanket way I want.
Yep.
You're not sending it back." So I became a better receiver, which is one of the things that the mentor who talked about um, honkering down, or what do you do? Charge your
Hmm.
preserves. He,
Hmm.
he says we need to be good receivers in life. Otherwise, things won't show up. And if you're not a good receiver, you're going to be insulting the people that give you the gifts.
Right on.
So I just learned to accept it gracefully, and we're really good friends and business partners as well. And my glasses come from his store in Manitoba. His wife's an
Beautiful.
optometrist. So yeah, interesting story about getting clarity around what it is you want. And I think you have that with your restaurant from what I've seen.
Yeah, I'm very blessed. Yeah, for
The
sure.
attention to detail in your store. It's probably one of the reasons why you've been there for 40 plus years.
Well, I think my staff realizes that I'm somewhat ADD as well. When I see a burnt out light bulb, I feel that it is lazy and I want it changed immediately. So my staff is always looking around for light bulbs, right? Making sure the small things are
But
the ones that
what's
matter.
this? Yeah, it's the small things that make the big difference, right? So
For
one of
sure.
the things that I was introduced to, gosh, about 13 or so years ago, when I got into the business coaching space
Mhm.
on purpose, not by accident.
Mhm.
Some of the things they pointed out to us is way we could find out if a restaurateur was in trouble was go to two things: the washroom and their kitchen.
Yes,
Right? That tells you a
absolutely.
lot about the attitude and the
For
mindset.
sure.
So I think that's probably why you've survived, not only survived, you've had some thriving moments in your career, right?
We're very lucky. We're blessed. We're still thriving.
I,
We're so
but
lucky.
I'm gonna stop you. Can I
Yeah.
stop you? Coach
Yeah,
hat
of
on.
course.
You're not lucky.
Well, I
You're
think
fortunate,
luck.
you're blessed, but you're not lucky because luck is something that, you buy a lottery ticket, that's luck. That's out of your control. But the business
Sure.
that you've built, in my opinion, and this is
Yes.
and friends of mine that go there and have told me they were going there before I started going there.
Oh,
And they said,
well, I'm
"Phil, you
so
got to go there. It's the best place in Calgary." So I finally went, and it's really damn good, guys.
I'm happy to hear that because
But it's
our
not luck.
style is unique for sure for North American standards of pizza. You know, we're a heavy ciabatta style crust that has it's got all the toppings on the inside and full fat cheese on top, and we bake it low and slow at about 550, and it comes out crispy on the top, crispy on the bottom out of a pan. So it's a pan style.
Right?
And then that first, when you cut that pizza into slices, you hear that big
Crunch.
crunch,
Yeah.
crunch, and then when you show those pictures, you can see the thickness of the crust. It's a heavy style.
Hey, I'm gonna see if I can bring that back up
Sure,
before we.
that looks
Yeah.
delicious too.
Oh, there's your logo.
That's
I
my
forgot.
logo. Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm shamelessly plugging myself. You see, I got the hat on and
yeah, yeah.
the
That's
shirt on.
fine.
I'm trying to
You're
center
allowed
it.
to. There's the pizza I was looking for.
There it is. Yeah,
There's the crust you're talking about.
yeah. That's what we call it. It's Calgary Greek style pizza. It kind of found its way to Calgary specifically from Greek immigrants who landed in New England, started making this ciabatta style pizza. It moved west, found a home in southern Saskatchewan, but really found its true roots in Calgary. And this is the style of pizza that you'll find throughout all the old school pizzerias in Calgary. Is what you're seeing on the screen there, or similar
Yeah.
to it. Yeah.
Well, that's excellent. So if there was one thing I was going to ask you
Yeah.
as a nugget to share with other entrepreneurs, business owners, what would that be?
When you have an opportunity in front of you, you have to grasp it with everything inside of you. You have to just take it, because great opportunities don't come along very often. And when they do, you really have to seize them and go all in. That is the story of Matador. When I bought Matador, I wasn't interested in going back in the restaurant business at that point in time. I was taking a break from it, and I just got out of a restaurant. I was coming back into Canada, and when these great businesses drop on your lap, you have to grab them. That would be my nugget to everybody out there. Do everything you have to do to grab those opportunities.
And it sounds like you said, go all in.
Go all in.
I think that's what I heard.
Yeah.
Hey, you know what? I've met you in person. You're brilliant in person, and you're just as brilliant in this virtual state. And I'm glad that I have crossed paths, had a few desserts. I didn't go there because I would be coming over to get some more desserts. They're absolutely awesome. So I want to thank you for being on the show today and sharing some of your wisdom and some of your passion. I really appreciate that.
Phil, my pleasure. And I really admire what you're doing with podcasting. It's something that I have a bit of an interest in. And I'm going to definitely pick your brain and learn your new craft, I guess, and see if I can have some fun doing some podcasts of my own in the future.
Yeah, if your daughters will let you into your office.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll have to find a better studio. Although this is wonderful. Don't get me wrong. For me, this is perfect. But
well, it has been a slice.
It has been.
Pun intended.
Thank you. And pun. Yeah, for sure.
Thanks
I appreciate
again.
it. If you any other time you want me on, I'd love to come back on and chit chat more. I'm always available, Phil.
Awesome. Appreciate it.
And anyone watching, if you're looking for a guest on a podcast, I'm usually always available.
I'm thinking Eric might be reaching out to you because he does some stuff, but I'll let Eric look after that.
Absolutely. That'd be great.
All right, man.
Super, everybody. Thanks for joining us and checking in and watching it. I appreciate it. Thank you. And hope to see you at Matador Pizza and Steakhouse in Varsity.
Yeah. Calgary's not that far from anywhere. We have an airport.
No, that's right. That's right. Yeah.
Thanks again, Jason.
My pleasure, sir.
So that was I'm getting hungry. I've had breakfast, but I think I got to go over there sometime soon. What a guy, right? What a guy. So again, if you're watching us on the replay, let us know, #replay. And if you could subscribe to our channel, that would be terrific on YouTube. And remember, I'm going to show you something here. I brought it up a little bit earlier, but you are wonderful. So go out and act that way. Continue to be your unique, wonderful self. Until next time, I'm Coach Phil on the Business Renovator.
I get shit done, I have fun. It's my time and I'm the one. I'm breaking